Anyway, what I want to talk about is the creative process and how you go about writing your songs and what you experience. So if it's all right with you, I'd like to make this more of a workshop where we can kind of converse together about the things that you find most interesting or frustrating or that you are currently working on, so that you can perhaps get the most out of this particular clinic. I have a great book list here. There's going to be a lot of books I'll be referring to, and you can each help yourself to one of these sheets here on the stage. And one of the things that I find that some of my students are concerned with when they're first starting to play is that they've got 6 strings, but some of the chords they're looking for are only 3 notes or 4 notes, so they don't know which strings to leave out. And if you're certainly starting on guitar, one of the craziest things is noticing that when you go to play some of those easy voicings, they don't always sound so good if you hit the open strings that don't belong with that chord. So if I hit, it's because the E isn't part of a D chord. You have to be in a really unique situation where you're going to want a D over an E. So if you're strumming along thinking everything's groovy, you're going back and forth between C and D, and you're wondering, why does it sound so muddy and strange? It's because obviously you shouldn't be hitting some of these lower notes that don't belong in the chord. So if you can learn how to emphasize the C as you switch to a C chord, right? Or a D as you're strumming, getting to the D chord, you'll find that emphasize whatever the lowest note is that belongs in the chord. You'll find that that works better for you. You really hear that hollow stage. I'm amazed at how much mid-range is up here. It sounds like I'm playing a hollow body. And I'm not. It's very solid. Very, very solid. So, around Berkeley especially, it gets really difficult. You almost feel like you have to hide in a corner somewhere if you're going to play this chord, because you think nobody in the guitar bar plays this chord. But you can play this chord and get away with it. Especially if you play other low lines around it. These chords leave your fingers open for other things, and if you slide it around, what's happening to this D? It's just pedaling, it's just sort of hanging out, right? But what's happening is it's also changing the spelling. So, like, I have a tune that starts off like this. It takes this very easy chord, D, moves it up to the key of F, puts it over D, which really turns it into a D minor 7 type of a sound, but then I'm alternating between an open D and a low B flat. So what seems very simple, and maybe I shouldn't use that, can be really interesting later, harmony-wise. I love triads over bass notes. So that's a real nice sound. And then the other thing about voicings is guitar splits up its different strings, and so they're using different string sets. So you can play over 20 different places to play each chord. Like if you were just going to play a C major 7. If someone starts asking you, do you know your drop 2s and 3s? Do you know your chord inversions? Those are the same terms and the same words for that kind of stuff. And it turns out that you can play 4 inversions on the top 4 strings, or 4 on the bottom 4 strings, or 4 on the 6th string and the middle 3, or the 5th string and the top 3, or just the middle 4, right? And guitars are strange because it doesn't always only go vertical, but it goes horizontal as well. So you've got lots of options, and each one of those, if that's a major 7, if you know how to spell your chords, you can turn that into anything you need. If that's major 7, dominant 7, minor 7, right? Minor 7 flat 5, diminished 7. And you can do that with all of these. It's like conjugating verbs. And you end up with putting just those 5 colors in 12 keys, and you get 4,280 chords. So if you're feeling bored with chords, look up, talk to your guitar teachers, and get all these chord inversions and start messing with them, because you can leave voicings, just certain notes out. You can move them around. Add different bass notes. You can make it a 9th chord. You can make it a 13th. You can do anything you want to it. And if you're already finding something really cool somewhere on the guitar, and you're thinking, I just wish I had that chord here. I really like this note. I feel like I want that one to be on top. You can voice lead it and find those things. And that's where some of the knowledge helps you. But, the thing isn't about being as knowledgeable as you can, in a sense that that's going to help your songwriting. I think the best thing that helps the creative process and helps your songwriting is getting as playful as possible and as open and trusting of yourself as you can. So here I am talking about knowing a bunch of stuff, but really, when I'm writing, honestly, I'm not thinking about any of that stuff. I'm just putting my fingers anywhere. And I'm looking for stuff, and sometimes I'm thinking, and my ear is guiding me in a counterpoint sort of way. I want one note to go down and one note to go up, and, people feel limited by, I only know a few chords, so what am I going to write? But I've met a few guitar students over the years that have just been so innovative, they don't know anything past the 3rd fret, knowledge-wise, where the notes are, and yet they're putting their fingers places, finding interesting chords that they like, and having such a great time and coming up with really cool, interesting things. So the fastest path I see to getting better as a guitarist, just as a tool to help your songwriting, is to point to some of your favorite songwriters or bands if they're featuring the guitar, and especially if you feel like that guitar part came as the inspiration for the song, and learn that song. Because if you can get those new voicings or that riff or that particular thing that they're doing in your muscle memory, that's the Italian. Got to talk with your hands. Then, when you go to play, you'll actually play some of those cool things. You can't help it. It's built in. You probably noticed this already. Everything you already know that's in your repertoire comes out again and again and again and again and again. And you seem to go for the same things again and again and again. And that's one of the reasons also that a lot of us write in other tunings. Does anybody else here write in other tunings? Besides these 3 guys there? It's a fun thing to do, because then all of a sudden you can almost throw everything you know out the window. And again, just go for the emotional, connecting, this feels right, this is what I want to actually play right now type thing. Now, some of these guitar teachers are going to only give you a certain bunch of voicings because they don't want you to play voicings with the 3rd and the bass or the 7th and the bass. They're going to think you don't know what to do with those. But you can do with them what you please. I like giving everybody all 20 of them and not editing them myself. Because sometimes what might sound muddy sounds cool in a groove situation. I have a tune that starts off like this. And that's just using those bottom, what they call drop 2 voicings, So that was also just done by feel and by moving around and letting my hands do whatever I want.